Ai ngā manu whititua ko wehe, koutou po rukutia e ngā tapu o tua whakarere, e te hunga mate, ko huri koutou ki te tātai orarangi, ia ngā ki te pōuri, ki te pō tangotango, ki te pō kerekere. Tēnei ka mihi atu ki a koutou, haere atu, ki runga ki te whenua papanei o te rohe o Ngāti Whātua, ki Hawaii, ki Nui, ki Tahiti Roa, ki Tahiti Pamamao. O ki atu rā koutou, e te hunga mate, e te iwi nei, e te waka o mau huhu koutou haere, haere, haere atu rā. E pāpaki mai ana, ngā tai a te mihi ki a koutou, e rere tonu ngai, te kārohi-rohi, o te moana o Waitemata koutou, o ngā uri mā rohi-rohi o te tupuna, o tupariri, e noho ana koutou ki tāmaki whakapiri mai, koutou, e noho ki wahora ki te takiwā nei, whakapiri mai. Piki mai koutou ki tēnei āhuatanga, a te hui a mātou te poari ki a koutou, a ngā whānau, o te hapu, o te tāu, te uringutu me ngā hō koutou, haere mai, haere mai, a haere mai. A kā te ake rā ngā whānau, hari koa te ngā kau, o tēnei tira, e mihi ana ki a koutou ki te whakaui mai, ki te whakarongo ki e nei, o ngā kōrero, o te wā, o ngā kōrero, o e nei whakahira-hira, a te poari nei. Koutou e noho moho ao, ki te ora koutou, ki te māramatanga, a kia tai te ora ki a koutou, a ngā kaumātua kuia, ngā parirau, o tēnei hapu, huri noa, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Tēnā koutou e te whānau, kei ngā kaua hikinga o te piriri, nau mai, hoki mai, ki tēnei wānanga āhiko tuatoru mō te poari o Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei. Kia ora te whānau and welcome back. Welcome back to our final webinar regarding the special general meeting. We had such a great feedback last week, and so we've decided to present to you again another webinar pertaining to the special general meeting. Today's webinar is going to be slightly different, not too different. We're still going to give you informative information pertaining to the various kaupapa tonight. And how we're going to do that is that Jamie Sinclair, our CEO for the Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei Trust, is back with us tonight, and he will be doing a PowerPoint presentation. We've also got some awesome panelists, two of them who are elected representatives for Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei Trust. So let me introduce them to you tonight. So tonight we have the puti of tonight's webinar, and that is the E Te Tuakana, Precious Clark, Nau mai, haere mai.
Kia ora Paki, kia ora koutou e te whānau.
Kia ora. And we also have, as you've seen, Renata Blair. Kia ora, Renata.
Tēnā koutou katoa e te whānau.
And finally, our CEO of the Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei Trust, the man of the hour, Jamie Sinclair.
Tēnā koe, Monique, kia ora koutou te whānau. Great to be with you again.
Kia ora whānau. So just to let you know how we're going to run through this, we've got two parts of a presentation. One part, the first part, Jamie will explain shortly, and then we will move into an ad break. Following that, we will finish off the webinar with the final section. We've also, whānau, got our trusty old umbrellas. We've got 5 of these to give away again tonight. And so please, whānau, send through your pānui. Send them through via the chat on Zoom, and we will endeavour to answer your pārtai. Also, whānau, to remind you that we have our Ninja, Natasha Strong, our General Counsel online, here to answer any pārtai. We will endeavour to answer all of the pārtai whānau, so as we're going through the kaupapa, please send through your pārtai. Ka pai, well, I think that's us, and we're going to hand it over to Jamie to lead into our presentation. Kia ora, Jamie.
Oh, kia ora, Monique. Tēnā koutou e te whānau, ngā mihi nui ki a koutou katoa. As I said, it's great to be with you again. We were hoping this hui would be an in-person hui, but unfortunately not, due to the COVID restrictions. So I'm thinking of you all out there in your Aucklanders and your whānau bubble, and others around the motu as well, and of course everywhere else in the world. So in this challenging time. Just looking at our agenda for tonight, as Monique said, it's a little bit different to how we've run things in the last couple of webinars, but not too different. We're going to run through a little bit more information this time, probably around the background to the SGM. We'll be talking about the trust deed amendments, of course, and giving you more information there, then covering off some of the voting, the ways to vote, the logistics around the SGM, and what the implications of COVID-19 might mean for that particular event. And then we'll provide you with the places to go to get more information. So we've got, obviously, we'll pause throughout the course of the session, and we'll take any pārtai you have. Monique will pass them through to us when we come to the right time. So please fire them through. This is a great opportunity to share your pārtai. If we can't answer all your questions tonight, all of them, we will certainly do so and put them up on the web, as we have done for the last couple of webinars. So without further ado, I will, and I should mention, apologies, that of course with our elected representatives, Precious and me Renata, they will jump in to provide any additional kōrero and also to help answer some of the pārtai. So if I move on to the background to the SGM, I think this is really important, whānau, for us to just remember why we're doing a special general meeting or an SGM, because it is special. It's not something that we do all the time. In fact, this is the first special general meeting that we've had since our settlement in 2011. That's because special general meetings are held to pass what's called special resolutions. Now, special resolutions have a particular meaning under our trust deed. They're only put forward in relation to very specific kaupapa. So, for instance, if we were looking to make a major transaction where we might be selling a large asset, up to 50% of our asset base, we would need to put that through a special resolution. If we were looking to wind up the trust, for example, that would need to go through a special resolution, and an SGM would be needed to enact that resolution. The other situation where we require a special resolution is in this situation, where we are proposing amendments to the trust deed. So that requires a special resolution, and the SGM is the forum through which those resolutions are put to whānau and are voted upon. What makes it special is that there is additional protections around special resolutions. So for a special resolution to pass, it must receive a 75% majority in favour. Whereas other resolutions at our AGM require a majority. This requires 75% of all valid votes cast must be in favour for that resolution to pass. And another condition around special general meetings is that the quorum, or the number of people that have to be present at the SGM to make it an official meeting, if you like, is 100. So that is different, again, to our AGM where the quorum is 50. So those protections are in place for a reason, because those special resolutions are for big kaupapa that we don't do all the time, and it is really important that those are in place so that whānau can feel comforted when they're making their decisions. So that's a little bit of background to the SGM. Monique, have we had any pātau come through from whānau whilst I've been having a kōrero about that particular topic?
There's no pātai yet there, Jamie, so all the information that you're sharing must be spot on. We can haere tonu.
Kia ora. Thanks, Monique. Well, whānau, don't forget to ask the pātai in the comments, and we'll answer them as we go. I'll move on now to the trust deed amendments, because as I mentioned, this special general meeting and the special resolutions relate to amendments to our existing trust deed, which was signed in November 2011. Looking at the list of amendments to the trust deed, there are 7 resolutions, and this is probably a good time, whānau, for me to remind you of your voting pack. And in the voting pack, you would have seen your booklet, which had all of the resolutions, all of the rationale, and all of the clause by clause changes that we are proposing. So that is a really good resource if you want to go back and see actually what does each resolution actually mean, practically speaking, in terms of its intent, and also in terms of what that'll do to the change in the trust deed. And for those of you who want to see those changes as they would be reflected in our existing deed, so like the marked up version of our existing trust deed, that is also available on our website, and I really encourage you to have a look at that, because that gives you another perspective on those changes that we're proposing. So as I mentioned, there are 7 resolutions covering these topics: membership, loan ratios, electronic voting notices, and hui, changes due to the Trusts Act, which is a new piece of legislation, and some other changes around administrative and improvements to the overall trust deed in the document. That's the high level of the amendments. I'll now go and talk about each one in a little bit more detail. And again, whānau, please ask your pātai as we're going, and we'll pause after each section. So the first change that I'll talk about relates to membership, and this is a significant change, whānau. What it does is it amends the trust deed and the definitions of hapu and Ngāti Whātua Rākei to clarify or to reflect that to be a member of Ngāti Whātua Rākei, the person must be a toto or a blood descendant of Tūpariri. So that wasn't specified or clarified in the original trust deed. The decision was made to include that definition and to elaborate on that definition to make it clear that it relates to toto or blood descendant of Tūpariri. The other changes in the membership space are also really important to note. One is that we are now explicitly making it explicit that we want to be able to provide benefits to whānau who are not members but are closely connected to members. Because what we heard through the haerenga and through our kōrero with whānau and our kaumātua on this topic was that there was really a desire to reinforce whanaungatanga and to enable us to provide benefits for those who perhaps aren't members but are an important part of our whānau and an important part of our community. So that is another really important change. And the third area of change that we're making in this membership space is in relation to the ability to remove members, which is not currently existing in the trust deed. So the current trust deed doesn't have any allowance for removing members. Now, that's not something we do lightly, of course. There will be a process that will be embedded in that resolution. And I would just reiterate that it will not affect current or existing members. So existing members and all the rights and benefits associated with existing members will not be affected by this. It will only be that future members, should it be determined that future members do not meet that definition, that new definition of membership, then there is a process or an ability through the trust deed to correct that. And again, we thought that was an important change just to make sure that there was integrity within the membership list. So I will pause there, but perhaps there might be something from our trustees might want to add to the kōrero around this particular topic.
Yeah, Jamie, if I can just add that the trust deed changes have been progressing for the past 6 years. Ever since I was elected onto the board in 2013, there were elected members on the board who were reviewing the trust deed to look at the grammatical changes and whether the trust deed was still applicable to our community or our organisation. So it's important for the whānau to understand that this SGM has merged out of many wānanga, many meetings with our whānau and as of the trust, and many take that have been brought before the trust to guide the changes that are before you.
Ka pai, thanks, Ren. Prish.
Yeah, kia ora, if I can add to that, just to say that the trust deed, was brought into existence in 2012, and we've now had 8 years of experiencing it and walking with it. And through walking with the trust deed, we've come to understand what things work well for the business that we currently have and the business that we intend to have in the future and what doesn't. And so many of the changes really reflect that experience of having walked with the trust deed for 8 years now.
Kia ora, Precious. Yeah, that's a very good point. We have grown and developed and matured over that time, and now's a good time to look forward into the future. So, Monique, do we have any pārtai from whānau that we want to perhaps?
Yeah, I think this is a good pārtai that's come through, although Natasha has answered it online. It'll be good to kōrero to this pārtai. So it is, how does the toto wording impact on those who are adopted and want to register after the SGM?
Ka pai. So the membership decisions are made by the Whakapapa Committee, which is a separate committee of the trust. They will need to apply, if this resolution was to be passed, they will need to apply that definition for any future decisions after the 13th of September, and that will and that may mean that adopted whānau or whāngai whānau are not eligible for membership, but again, the decision-making processes with the Whakapapa Committee applying this new definition. So I don't want to give a hard and fast, but I think that's, that the new definition is intended to be clearer, and yes, that might have an impact on future membership for some potential members, such as our adopted and our whāngai whānau.
Ka pai. Another pārtai has come through. How does the Adoption Act affect the proposed amendments to membership?
It's a good pārtai, and I'm sure Natasha's answered that, so I hope I don't get that wrong. But the Adoption Act obviously is a piece of New Zealand legislation that we need to comply with. We will comply with the law, and we do comply with the law. The application of the Adoption Act with our existing definition, because we previously had never referred to toto or blood in our definition, the Adoption Act effectively became relevant, if you like, to the processes around determining membership. So again, there are changes happening to the Adoption Act, I believe, and that might start to reflect a bit more tikanga, but we will still comply with the law, but the new rule makes it explicit, or the new definition makes it explicit, that it's toto or blood is the criteria, if you like.
Ka pai. And this pārtai for both Renata and Precious, would a marae process be considered, or would Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei have a tikanga around whāngai in the future?
Yeah, I guess the beauty of the trust now is that we've got the kaumātua taumata to discuss matters of tikanga with, which is in our deed. And the trust is also established a kāhui tikanga to also discuss matters pertaining to this. So we would go there to those bodies to discuss things like whāngai and the tikanga around whāngai, because over the generations, it's definitely the definition has changed in many of our members' eyes. You have differing views of what a whāngai uri is, or a whāngai person is, and what it means, and whether it was a whāngai 6 generations ago and then all the whāngai mokos, and we need to discuss those matters deeply with our people in order to make the right decision. So it won't be, the trust will be a vehicle which will seek guidance and then make the decision based on the guidance of those committees.
I don't really have much more to add to that.
Kia ora, tēnā korua.
Thanks, Monique. Ren, Precious. Any more pātai at this stage, Monique, or should we move?
Ka haere tonu, Jamie.
Kia ora, thank you. Good pātai whānau. The next topic that we'll talk about relates to our loan ratios. So again, this is one resolution which is looking to affect changes to both our loan ratios that are established and set in the trust deed. There are two. One relates to the increasing our loan to value ratio from 30% to 40%, and the second part to that resolution is to increase the interest cover ratio from 50% to 67%. So what that effectively does is it enables us more capacity to borrow more. That doesn't mean that we are going to rush out and spend all of that. It just means that we have the capacity to borrow more. And there are some very good reasons why we want to do this. First of all, there's opportunities. We know that, and these are opportunities to enhance and advance faster our whānau ambition. If you take a look at our plans around the Kupe Street Ridge, where our plan is to purchase as much of that whenua as we can, an increase in the loan to value ratio will help enable that. We also want to increase our distributions to whaimaia to enhance all the great mahi they do around grants and programs and services, and help, increase our delivery for whānau, because we know that particularly in the next couple of years, it's going to be really challenging times for a lot of whānau, and we do need to be prepared and be ready to respond to those needs. As an entity as well, we are looking to diversify our business. So as whānau will know, we're mostly a property company. We want to look to diversification opportunities in the future, and we'll do that the right way through an investment framework that has our values at the core, but we do need capital to do that. And probably the last area I'll touch on before perhaps passing to one of the trustees is this increase will allow some headroom. So if we were to see the significant shocks that we saw back in 2008-9 with the global financial crisis, and potentially something like a COVID becoming worse or permeating further through the economy, we need a little bit of capacity so that we don't have to sell our assets in effectively a distressed market or a low value market. We always want to maintain a buffer between what our debt ratios say and what our debt ratios actually are. So having that increase in the LVR will enable us to have that headroom whilst still maintaining and delivering on those opportunities and that strategy that we set out with whānau just a year or so ago. I would also add that that it is well within our comfort levels, this increase. We're actually, this will bring us in line with our banking covenants, and the banks obviously have very stringent requirements around our debt carrying and our debt facilities. So, and relative to other organisations with similar asset classes who have ratios around 50 to 60%, we're still quite conservative. So we feel comfortable that this increase doesn't add undue risk, but it does provide a lot of benefit in terms of those opportunities and those additional benefits for whānau. So perhaps I'll pause there and just pass to perhaps Precious, who can perhaps elaborate or add anything further.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Jamie. I think it's quite helpful to understand how LVR or loan to value ratios work in a real world sense. It's kind of hard to understand it when it's all in theory. But if we think about if you're lucky enough to buy a house and you were to go to the banks, they would expect you to come up with a 20% deposit, and the bank will lend you 80%. So what that is that's an LVR, a loan to value ratio of 20%. So at the moment, what that means, can you see me? Okay, what that means is that with the loan to value ratio that we currently have, which is at 30%, it means that we have to come up with 70% as a tribe, and we can go to the banks for that 30%. So you can get a sense of how it's flipped over from an individual versus what the iwi is required to do. So let's use an example. If the tribe wanted to buy a house for $100, we would need to pay $70, and we could borrow $30. But if you wanted to buy a house for $100, you would need to come up with $20, and the bank would lend you $80. So that's what the loan to value ratio is. So we're asking that our loan to value ratio is increased by 10% to 40%. And as Jamie mentioned, that brings us in alignment with our banking covenants. So our banks will allow us to lend up to 40%, but our trust deed doesn't. And banks are not that great at lending, particularly in a COVID environment. So we feel that this is still a conservative figure, and that we can conduct business effectively and safely, and with managed risk levels for our people. And also, just to mention, to build on what you mentioned, Jamie, about the importance of what we call headroom. So that's just giving yourself a bit of wriggle room to do things. And without the loan to value ratio lift, we don't have a lot of headroom. And in a COVID-19 environment where we're still going to go through waves of lockdowns, everything is extremely uncertain in a business environment, and giving ourselves that buffer zone is really important for two reasons: so that we can commercialize on opportunities that are likely to come up in a COVID-19 environment, and so we don't have to sell things because of the cap that we've got at 30%.
Got it, Precious. Thank you. That was really excellent corridor. So I do want to go back to that a little bit, because I think it's really important that we reiterate this point around that loan to value, what it means. And that example you gave is a great one, comparing it to, say, your home ownership and the mortgage you might have to have on that. It is our level of borrowings over the value of our assets is how it's calculated, basically. And it's really important that whānau know that those assets that we are securing this debt against excludes some of our most important whenua. So that excludes what we call our hapu lands and our inalienable lands. And actually, I've got a map. So if we flip to the map, that will show you hopefully what I mean. Hapu lands really relate, and these are defined in our trust deed: hapu land and inalienable land. Hapu land really relates to our papakainga, our marae land, and also our whenua rangatira. So those lands can never be used as security, cannot be sold, cannot be encumbered in any way. Those things are protected forever because of their importance and their significance to us. Sorry, I should just clarify, this map is a map of Ōrākei, and you'll see Tamaki Drive at the top there, and coming up to the whenua and the marae. So,
can I just jump
yes.
in there, Jamie, just to follow on from that? So what that means is that those protected and inalienable land, that can never be taken by the bank. It's never counted in the debt to asset ratio, so that always will remain with us, because it's never included in any contractual relationship that we have with the banks.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks, Precious. Yep, it's really important to keep reiterating that. So there's a big land holding which will never be used as security, which will never be taken by the banks because it's protected forever. That's why it's inalienable and why we call them special hapu lands. I would like to also touch on another land holding that we have, because it is relevant to this discussion. We have another map there which shows the Britomart area, and that Britomart area, and you'll see in yellow there the key park, or Titongaroa, which is our which also has its own definition in our trust deed, being protected land. Now, protected land has a different connotation. Protected land we are able to borrow against up to the level specified in our trust deed, but to sell this land, we would need to put it through a special general meeting. So this is a very important piece of land. It was the railway lands. It's one of our earlier deals, and it is our biggest asset. And it is really important that, again, we just whānau understand that this has a particular classification in our trust deed. So there's the different types of land, and we'll put all this information up on the website so whānau can understand that more, because it is really important to know, first of all, the extent of our land holdings across Tāmaki, but also what they might mean and how we are looking after them, if you like. So perhaps I'll pause there, just in case there's any parts. I can appreciate this area can be a little bit technical at times, but I'm really happy for us to ask, take any questions.
Yeah, we've actually got a lot of questions coming through from the whānau, which is awesome, because this is an important kaupapa whānau, and you need to be fully informed when you make your decision. So one pārtai is, Precious, you might be able to answer this one. Has our asset base been affected by COVID?
Well, we haven't had our valuations yet, and those valuations are not likely to come out until around October. So at this stage, our assets are holding okay, but it remains to be seen, dependent on what the valuations are saying. So it's too early to predict, and it's also too early to predict given that we're likely to go through waves of responses to COVID. But for the main part, it's held.
Yeah, if I can just reiterate that point, our assets are showing the quality that they are really holding up, and we certainly won't be seeing the decline that other industries have seen. And if anything, we're seeing a hold or a slight increase even in our asset value. So again, it just talks to the quality of those assets, the awesome work of those who've come before, and also the current management team and how we look after those. So it's good for whānau to know that those assets are in good shape.
Yeah, I'd reinforce that too, Jamie and Precious. They have held well because they are quality. Other iwi are experiencing major decline in their asset value with their products or their assets that they own. Tourism has been one which has taken a huge hit. They've had to make a lot of staff redundant for those iwi that have those assets, which is a real shame. And so we've been very fortunate to inherit an amazing asset from our matuas on the boards previous to us, which we at the trust always acknowledge. And the wisdom they had in making those deals is phenomenal, and it's paying off through global financial crisis as well as a COVID environment. So one, a financial crisis, and two, a health crisis. It's we can only keep our karakias up, and also our mihi to our matuas for all their hard work and what they've created for us. Kia ora.
Kia ora, e te kāna, e te tuakana. Another pārtai has come through, and it is around if the LVR, if our whānau were in support of the increase, what further opportunities or investments do you think Whairawa or the trust would invest in?
Jamie, well, the trust is currently developing an investment framework. So we're looking at a framework which would guide our decisions based on our values, also based on what types of assets that we would be comfortable with in investing. So once that framework is completed, which will be by the end of this year, we would seek for that framework to guide future investments, because a year ago everybody thought that tourism was the #1 darling investment in New Zealand, and everybody was investing heavily into it, and now it's fallen apart. Farming has its ups and downs, so we're going to look at all different types of classes of assets or investments, but base it on a strong foundation of a framework. But yeah, I'll throw it to Jamie and Precious if they want to have a kōrero too.
Yeah, I just tautoko that, Ren. I think that is exactly right. We've got to be measured, sensible, grounded in our values to make this decision. And I would also say that it's really exciting that we're in this position where we're able to think about these new opportunities, but it has to be done the right way. So I would also add that we want whānau input through this investment framework development process as well, just to ensure that we're lining up with what whānau says is important, and how we can move forward together through our future investments. Precious?
Aroha mai Bucky, my internet dropped out when you asked the question. Can you summarise it for me and I'll have a go?
Should the LVR increase go forward, and our whānau choose to go forward with it, what are our future investment opportunities are we considering?
Okay, yeah, I think it aligns with Ren's kōrero. That investment framework will certainly give us the direction, and we will be looking for things that align with our values. So it's like Jamie said, it's quite exciting because we can, think about green energy or green kaupapa that has a positive impact on our environment, and think about what investment in those types of companies or businesses look like. But I think it does link back to the Trust's wider strategic plan also, which looks to increase household income. So in the investment, what can we be doing as a group to encourage, higher levels of education, employment, training and business opportunities for our own whānau within a value supply chain. So it's quite exciting, but to reiterate Ren and Jamie, it aligns back to our investment strategy.
Ka pai, and that sounds exciting. Returning back to the whenua, looking after Papatuanuku, looking after the moana, and really leading with a Te Ao Māori lens. Jamie, there's a pātai coming through. Do we know what other iwi's LVR percentages, and are we, is that a part of our consideration, or?
It's a good pātai, and I can see why whānau would want to consider that, but it's probably not the right comparison to make, because we're quite different. Every iwi business is quite different in its commercial structure and its commercial makeup. So if you look at some of our bigger whanaunga iwi, Ngāi Tahu, they have a very diversified portfolio. They have a lot of equities. They have financial instruments. They have a range of business interests, as well as tourism, as you will be well aware. So it's very difficult and hard to compare like that. What we have compared ourselves to is to listed property trusts who are very similar to us in terms of the asset makeup, and that is a more, I guess, appropriate comparison. In terms of this kaupapa, obviously we look to our iwi friends for other areas, particularly in the tribal development space and culture and language development, etc. But in terms of commercial, we compare ourselves to those who have similar asset structure to us, and that's where we've identified LVRs of around 50 to 60% are the more the norm for property trusts with assets similar to ours. Precious might want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, just to add that we commissioned a study to assess our loan to value ratio vis-a-vis other companies that are similar to us. And we had Rob Fife undertake that work on our behalf, who used to be the Chief Executive of Air New Zealand, obviously before COVID-19 and tourism bailed out. But he did say that we had a conservative loan to value ratio, and that we had a lot more headroom, and that if we were asking the iwi to increase to 40%, he would deem that as reasonable, considering our assets and considering the nature of our business. So we did seek external review to test our thinking about this.
Ka pai, and I think you've done your due diligence, and whānau seem to be interested in this kaupapa. So whānau, if you still have any pātai pertaining to this LVR kaupapa, send them through, and there may be a bit of time at the end to put forward some more pātai. Kia ora.
Ka pai. Oh, thanks all. So I think, are we going to cut for a break now, Dave, or is Monique?
Yes, I think that's us for this first half of the presentation, whānau. So we are going to cut to a short ad break, and we will be back soon. See you soon, whānau. Kia ora. Nau mai hoki mai e te whānau. We hope that the first part of the presentation was informative and will help you in your decision to make your votes. Remember, you can vote online, or you can also post your vote in the mail. So kia kaha e te whānau. We want to ensure that we get a good return on our numbers. Just a reminder, whānau, before we move on to our second half of our presentation, we've got these awesome limited edition umbrellas that we've been handing out, giving out to our whānau who answer pātai. So send through the pātai. We've got 5 to give away, whānau. So be in to win. We've had, last week we had whānau from Perth also win some of these. So no matter where you live, we will ensure that you get your limited edition umbrella. So whānau, we're going to move into the second part of our presentation, and we will get Jamie to lead us out. Kia ora, Jamie.
Oh, kia ora, Monique. Thanks for that. So the second part, so that first half was quite heavy. There were some quite significant changes. The second half are important changes, but perhaps not quite so heavy. So we can talk through these now. The next resolution, which is one of the resolutions that you'll be voting on, relates to electronic voting, hui and notices. Now this is sort of a no-brainer in some ways. It brings us into the 21st century, and what it does is it enables us to have hui elections, to issue notices, and to hold hui via electronic means. So that means that we can vote online, that means that we can hold AGMs online, that means we can ensure that notices go out by email rather than by post. And the intention of it really is, well, first of all, it's common sense in this day and age, but also secondly, it's really about engagement and ensuring that whānau from wherever they live are able to contribute and participate in whānau activity. whether that be an annual general meeting or a special general meeting or a vote for your new elected representatives. This will be a great move for the hapu. So there are a lot of changes that this relates to, though. Well, as you'll see in your documentation, because every time we mention votes or meetings, we have to now make an amendment to allow for that digital electronic element to be included. So when you look through those changes, you'll see a lot of changes relating to this particular resolution, but it is really just about enabling that extra facility, if you like, around electronic voting and online enablement. And it's important to remember this is just adding to our kite. It's not taking anything away. So if whānau still want to receive their notices by post and all the materials by post, okay, te pai. We're absolutely continue with that. It's just providing another tool for us to reach as many whānau as we can through these through these mechanisms. Yeah, I don't know, Monique, if the whānau have got any queries about that in particular. Oh, one thing they might be interested in is why we can do this SGM online and electronically, and that is a pātau we've had before, and the reason being is that with the COVID restrictions, a piece of legislation was passed called the COVID Response Exemption and Modifications Act. I think that was it, the CREAM Act, and it enabled entities like ours, acknowledging the difficulties of running an AGM or your normal business in an environment where you have limited ability to come together, that you could hold these by electronic means. So we obviously, that was a great thing for us. It meant that we had some certainty over the ability to run this SGM, regardless of the restrictions around the COVID environment. So yeah, so that's why we're able to do it in this scenario. But what this change will do to our trust deed, that will embed that in, and it will make it a permanent part of our process going forward.
Ka pai, Precious and Renda, do you have anything to add to that?
From me personally, going through the COVID experience in the first lockdown, the digital nature of our meetings was super imperative that we met as a trust, as our subsidiaries to meet, and the new act that was passed by Parliament really enabled us to be able to make decisions quickly, and also important decisions so that we could distribute resources to our whānau across the motu. And I think this digital environment has really been welcomed by many of the companies and organisations in whānau. We've seen a huge uptake in our te reo programs as a result of digital communication, and our ability to be comfortable in that environment, even though it's ipurangi, it's not tinana. We've found a way in order to ensure that we've operated as a well-functioning, high-performing hapu. I'm very impressed with our staff that have embraced the challenge, and our whānau that have been involved in volunteering their time or making themselves available for paid mahi in order to deliver services to our whānau. So I know the board is incredibly proud of what our staff are doing and our whānau who are running the marae, running programs, running projects, sports coaches, and they've been able to do this cope in an environment, and the digital platforms have been a key part of it. So kia ora koutou.
Kia ora. I can add to that as well, Bucky. I guess what excites me about this particular resolution is that we have a high youth population, and they're digital natives, and they they expect to be able to vote online. So if we make it easier, then more people can participate. And just that it makes it easier for our whānau who are living overseas to participate. They're not reliant on really slow postal services. It's so easy to just go online and do that voting so that we can ensure that our whānau voices from everywhere are heard in the process.
Ai tautoko, Prish. I've got a 16-year-old, and in 2 years' time, Kamora will be able to vote, and I can't seem to pull her away from her phone, so hopefully we'll have our Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei app, and she'll be able to exercise her her right to vote, and be able to just push the button. Jamie, there's a pātai that has come through, which I think is important to share with our whānau. Are our online votes included as present at the special general meeting?
It's a great pātai. It's important for whānau to think about voting a little bit separate to the meeting. So voting is about determining whether or not a resolution is going to pass or not. And we've already had hundreds of votes cast, and we want hundreds more. The running of the meeting to be an eligible meeting needs to have, as I mentioned earlier, 100 people present. So the online votes don't count as presence. You have to actually be at the meeting, either virtually or in person if we're able to do that, or the combination of those two. So so think about them separately. Vote and then come to the meeting, absolutely, so that you can help make sure we've got the quorum or the 100 people present, 100 members present, to make the meeting a valid meeting. Hopefully that clarifies things. But yeah, the two separate things, quorum and votes. So an online vote doesn't equal a tick in the box in terms of the quorum. Whānau still have to come to the meeting on the 13th of September, whether that be an online or in person, or both.
It's a really important point to make, because the votes cannot be counted if you don't have a quorum. So turning up to the meeting, either digitally or in person, if we're able to, becomes important so that the votes can then be counted. So that's a part of that difference.
And another pātai has come through from one of our whānau members. Is electronic voting going to replace kanohi ki te kanohi altogether? And can the board guarantee integrity by way of electronic voting?
Well, I can answer to the integrity question. Yes, absolutely. We do have an external provider ensuring the integrity of our voting system. And we will do that for all elections. In fact, it's bedded into the trust deed that we must have a returning officer who is independent, and we've used election services over the years, and they're very professional and experienced in running elections and voting systems. So I've got no doubt around the integrity of the voting process and the voting system. Perhaps I'll ask Renata or Precious to talk to the issue of how we will use online going forward versus kanohi ki te kanohi.
Yeah, in short, kanohi ki te kanohi is the most pure way of meeting our whānau. The online kōrero that we have cannot replace the wairua or the mauri that people have within our hapu. So in short, kanohi ki te kanohi is the best way for us to meet with our people. Failing that, if people can't be there for whatever reason, then they can either digitally transport themselves to the meetings, but my preference always is a kanohi, which I know that a lot of it, all our board would be, is kanohi ki te kanohi. Yeah, kia ora.
Pehe o whakaro, Presh? He kōrero anō? O ka...
Tino whakaia ki te kōrero a Renata, kanohi ki te kanohi, koe nā te mea nui, kia whakaputai ngā whakaro a te puari, kia whakarongo ai, Kia are ai ngā taringa ki te kōrero a te whānau. Koina.
Ka pai. Well, I think if anything, it provides another opportunity for our whānau to be able, for the trust to be able to engage with our whānau. But as Renata said, ka nohi ki te kanohi, he whakaro Māori tira, he whakaro o ngā mātua tūpuna. So that's awesome. Whānau, there are some awesome pātai coming through. And what we'll do now is haere tonu with the rest of our kōrero there, Jamie, and keep sending through those pātai whānau. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Yes, thanks, Monique, and great pātai. Keep them coming. The next topic I'll touch on is the Trusts Act. So another resolution we're making is to align our trust deed with the requirements of the Trusts Act 2019. So this is a new piece of legislation. It replaces the very old 1956 Trusts Act, and it does a number of things that whānau should be aware of. It's one of those changes that we have to make, but we are outlining those changes in this process so that whānau are aware of what those changes are and can be informed about what their rights and obligations are as members, or rights are as members of the trust. What it does do is it does make explicit some of the duties of the trust. So it has explicit requirements around duty of care, around a duty to invest prudently. So things that we do, but they're being explicitly outlined in the trust deed. It clarifies some interesting developments around documentation. So it specifies what is required to be held by the trust, and it also specifies when that information can be like destroyed or got rid of. And the existing trust deed has a 7-year kind of time lag in terms of documentation retention. The new Trust Act says that that key documentation for the trust cannot be destroyed or must be retained for the basically in perpetuity, so for the entire life of the trust. So that is a change. It also importantly makes an allowance for a dispute resolution process. So our trustee does have dispute resolution around matters of whakapapa or membership registration and also tikanga, but we don't have a specific process around other types of disputes. So this Trust Act requirement adds another disputes process. So if whānau have a dispute that doesn't relate to whakapapa or tikanga, then there is a process embedded in our trustee to allow for that. So those are probably the key changes. Again, they're all outlined really clearly in the documentation, and you'll be able to see what those changes are and why they're being made. I'll probably move on to the next one, Monique, just to keep things moving, because this is the last lot of changes. There are 2 changes around the sort of administrative matters. One change really, I guess, brings the document, improves the document, improves some of the administrative elements of the document, given our current situation and where we are now, as opposed to where we were back in 2011. So changes that I'm talking about there relate to things like the transitional provisions. So when we settled and the trust deed was enacted, there were a lot of transitional provisions which allowed for the establishment, if you like, and the initial functioning of the trust. We don't need those provisions anymore. The trust is now 9 years old. They can all be removed and taken away. There's also clauses in there around quorum, around what the quorum is for our elected representatives to meet. And again, back in the day, we had 11 elected representatives. We now have 9, and therefore quorum can change to reflect this lower number of elected representatives. So it's changes like that are really just improving the overall document and the effectiveness of the document. And then the last resolution is a lot of changes to correct inaccuracies, if you like, or errors, or there could be reference errors or spelling errors or te reo Māori errors or grammar. a lot of changes. Again, you'll see in your documentation, we've listed out every change that we have made to improve the quality of that document. And look, that's no disrespect to the original drafters of our trust deed, because we've had the luxury of time, as Renata mentioned. We've had years to work through what those changes could be. So we're in a place now where we can go back and look at line by line and try and make that document as good as it can be for us. And we're also looking at how we can translate that document in its entirety into Te Reo Māori. That is something that I think we would love to do once we have got through this process and have a final version, if you like, of the amended trust deed. So hopefully that gives whānau a little bit of background to those last couple of changes. If there's any pātai or of the elected reps would like to add anything to that kōrero. Goodbye.
Precious and Ren, how about if we got our te reo experts to translate the entire document? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, absolutely. Tino tautoko tērā pātai, tērā ara tika, he whakatika I rungi te reo, pai mo te iwi, he tohu mo te iwi hoki, tā tēnei kaunga I te reo. So yeah, definitely one that would be amazing if we translated. I think really with those administrative changes e te whānau, it's just going to create a really stronger document for us to be able to, you know, hand on heart, we've got a very strong document in order for us to operate as a trust and guide the trust. So yeah, that's the only thing that I'd add, other than definitely we'd have it translated into Te Reo Māori. Oh, Te Reo Ngāti Whātua.
Just to add that we're fortunate that we have, you know, those mātanga reo who are capable of doing it, because we don't want to find ourselves in the same situation as the Treaty of Waitangi that was translated overnight by a Pākehā. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can avoid that with the quality of mātanga reo that we have within our whānau.
E tika, tautoko. Well, there's no other pātai coming forward for that part of the presentation, Jamie. Is there a little bit more that we've got to go, or?
Yep, just got a really quick sort of wrap up in terms of some of the, if I move on to the logistics and the voting. Very quickly, whānau, we've sort of mentioned it throughout, but there are 3 ways to vote. It's online voting, or potential ways, online voting and postal voting. And then there's the potential of in-person voting. Now, obviously with the COVID situation in Auckland, we're watching that very closely, and it may be, depending on the restrictions, we may not be able to meet in person, but we will be advising whānau of that well in advance. So I would encourage whānau to get their votes in online or post votes. Don't assume that you're going to be able to come to the marae for those in Auckland or around to do your voting. So we'll just really encourage you to do that. And it's really easy. The online voting is really easy. Postal voting, really easy. So I really encourage you to do that. Proxy votes, I just want to make a note of that. We do have proxy votes with some of our voting processes at AGMs, but it is explicitly not allowed at an SGM. So it's only the online voting or the postal voting, or potentially in person, but again, that is not a certainty. And the last thing I'll just cover is just a reminder, we've got the 13th of September is not that far away, whānau, actually, so it's coming up fast. We'll be sending out lots more information over the coming days and weeks. I'm really excited. I hope we can meet in person, because it'd be lovely to see you all. But I'm really excited about this, and it is a big thing for us, and I hope you can all get a chance to read and put your vote in before the SGM date. Yeah, so that's probably all we had, Monique, to cover. So if there's any pātai that's come through, we can probably cover that, or.
Yeah, there's just one pātai here actually, Jamie, and it's referring to the alvea, and it's the only pātai that has that we will be addressing at this point, and it says how much money do we currently owe, and what could that increase to if we lift the alvea? That might have been a good one for Andrew last week.
That's right. So at the end of June 2019, our debt level was $200 million, our borrowings. Now that constituted about 20% of the value of the assets which were subject to that LVR calculation, so excluding that hapu land and inalienable land. We're going to see an increase in that debt level this year for sure. It could be up to 230 million, something along those lines. But I would just reiterate that because the ratio is always a percentage of our assets, it's always going to be relative to that. Now, I would also say that it's not a target. We're not going out there to target and put debt on for the sake of debt. We will always maintain that headroom, and we will always make sure that we are investing prudently and using debt prudently, as we have done over the last few years. So look, whānau should expect to see our debt levels continue to go up. But again, it's all relative to the value of our assets and the strength of our assets. We are very careful, kaitiaki of our assets, and we know that these are intergenerational. So we would never put those at risk. But yeah, debt will go up as our asset value goes up. And in actual fact, whānau, that's a good thing, because it means we're accelerating our growth, we're finding new opportunities, we're doing more for whānau. So I can't give you a number answer to that, I'm sorry, but it is relative, and it is something that's important to be aware of, and it's a good pātai. But perhaps Precious or Renata might want to elaborate.
Just to say that our practice is generally, so our loan to value ratio is currently 30%. Our practice is generally that we stay between 18 and 25% to give us that headroom, and we don't anticipate changing that practice. But what it does mean is it gives us a little bit more comfort to borrow more, to do more. And so that's to do more, to create more business, to make more money, but also to pay for some of the strategic outcomes that we have in the trust strategy that we created through our dialogue, kōrero, and through listening to whānau.
Ka pai, and that was an awesome response. Tēnā kōrua. Well, whānau, as we come to the end of this awesome webinar, we have our whānau down in Edgecombe who would just like to thank us all tonight. For
Kia ora, Kaz.
For a really informative session, for her 7 beneficiaries who whakapapa directly to Tūperiri. So thank you very much for that feedback. It's awesome to hear from our whānau and to help us understand that these webinars are informative to support your voting. So that's great to hear. Whānau, so just raise your hand in the Zoom session if you would like to see more of these webinars, because we would love to continue to present these if they are of help to our whānau, especially our whānau down in Edgecombe, our whānau in Australia that are watching tonight. It's so awesome to have you all connected with us. So before we wrap up, and before I do a round the table and get any final thoughts, and before Renata wraps us up with a closing karakia, I just wanted to announce our 5, sorry, not 7. We've only got 5 left, whānau. 5 winners of these umbrellas, and the first winner is our whanaunga from Edgecombe, Rio Grey. Kia ora, cuz, we will get this shipped off to you unless you want us to pass it over the fence to Uncle Marsh. And then we have Cousin Harry Peters, tēnā koe e te whanaunga. This is coming your way. We'll send this over to Aussie unless you want Lisa Kukali to come and pick it up for you. And we have Marcel Thompson, Leah Davis, and Uncle Tautoko Wataka. Tēnā koutou e te whānau. So we're sending these limited edition umbrellas out to you, and thank you so much for your pātai. It's been awesome having you guys connected with us, and it has been awesome to have our elected representatives from Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei sharing their whakaaro and sharing their kōrero with us tonight. So before Renata wraps up for us, are there any final comments?
I'd just like to say, ngā mihi nui kia koutou e te whānau. It's nice to, although we can't see you, it's nice to be able to share this information with you. My first kōrero is the importance of voting, and we really welcome you, because as a trust, we've been considering these resolutions over a number of trusts, and this is really important to hear the direction that you want us to take. So getting in early with your votes is really important, and I'd highly encourage you to consider online voting or postal voting so you know that your vote makes it. And second to that, just that the board supports these changes, and we have had many deliberations, much kōrero, really robust kōrero to arrive us at a point where we agree with these resolutions to put forward before you. So if you're looking for guidance, you can see that the board wholeheartedly supports this.
Tēnā koe, Precious.
So final kōrero, great job, Bucky.
Tēnā koe, Precious. And I've got some awesome tips from our superstar Sharon Hawke, and also Rewa Harriman. So I've got them in my pocket, and they're available to help me present this kaupapa. Pēhea o whakaaro, Ren?
Yeah, just to also support what Precious has said, to get out there and vote. This is not the same as an AGM where you're voting on site, but it's one that we want you, like more of an election of the politicians, to get out and vote before you go to the hui. So yeah, kia kaha koutou mā. I just want to really ask us to pull all our thoughts and prayers for our kaumātua koe, and also our rangatira Steve Pihima as he travels around the motu, and our other whānau, that you just really put them in front of mind. I asked the whānau out there under this lockdown, yeah, to noho haumaru, to be practice our whanaungatanga within our whare, and to just love one each other as much as you can during this time. Just really proud of our whānau over lockdown. I believe we've been one of the exemplar organisations, or iwi, across this whole COVID, and I'm really proud of how everybody's connected, from the trust through to all our tamarikis that are out there, and I'm really proud. So yeah, would you like me to close with a karakia? Ka pai tēnā?
Tēnā koe.
Tēnā koutou e te whānau. Tēnei karakia takina unuhia, te pūtake te kōrero, te wānanga unuhia, te hautapu ariki. Whakairihi e rongo, kia paitara a whare, ko whatatia i runga ki ene o tātou nei ruanuku, wēnei o ngā taura, ngā tauira. Tēnei te ko whatatia e tāne te wānanga ki runga ki raro. Tuturu e rangi e tūnei, pope takoto nei, ke whakamaua kia tīna. Aumi e, hui e, tae ki e.
Tae ki e. Mauri ora, pomari e whānau.
Aki te whānau.